And we are live with another episode of BS Busters. And, well, as per the usual, we're here to talk about things that most people don't want to talk about. I'm just being facetious. We're talking about trashy video games that we love. Plus, we're also talking about other things.
Right. And I got plenty of news to discuss before we could possibly move on to the primary topic or after.
So let's do the news of the week first.
All right. Nintendo eShop on hot water with the Norwegian consumer console. Have you guys heard about it?
Yeah, they don't do refunds on the
I gotta say this.
Digital
on the eShop.
They had difficulties with refund policy of pre-orders. This is a great. I think that that your pre-order is kind of you make the purchase because in a sense you're buying the full game before. But if you only pay part way, that's why I'm getting in a gray area.
I disagree. I think that there should be refunds for pre-orders. Period.
Even digital ones.
Even if they're digital.
Even digital, and I'll tell you why. Because nowadays they could alleviate this if games had friggin' demos like they did back in the day.
Sadly, considering what we go through.
Yeah, I mean, like, because I've bought games where I was like, especially via Steam, I've bought games where I was like, yeah, this game's on sale, I'm gonna get it, and then I get it and I realized I don't like this game, and before Steam introduced a refund policy, yeah, I was just stuck with that game, that I bought for no reason because it was on sale, because it looked interesting, and then I played it. I'm like, this isn't for me. So I think there should be a refund policy. I think it does. I think it needs to be like if you play, like you have, I don't know, a week. Maybe a week, maybe a few days to a week, like 3 to 4 days to 7 days. I think that would be fair. Especially if it's digital.
And here's the catch: Nintendo's not the only company that's having this issue. So is Sony.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just saying, like, the days of companies being able to sell you a product, or provide a market for a product, and then you can't return it if you don't want it within a timely and prompt manner. That's bullshit. I'm sorry. So yeah, I think there should be a refund policy. I know some people be like, but don't you like Nintendo games? It's not about me liking something. It's about consumers having the option to try before you buy. Yeah. Or to buy it and say, I don't like this, and then return it. I mean, I'm sorry. That's, I know some people will be like, well, you're a Nintendo fan. Yeah, but just because I'm a fan of something doesn't mean I'm going to turn a blind eye to bullshit.
The thing with me is that I'm in the gray area with refunds. Always those pricks that like to, well, you can understand why I'm talking, right?
The people who buy a game, beat it, and then return it, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when it was during those times of
Blockbuster
and the nasty trick of having to pay for the internet for some of this.
Yeah, I mean,
some of those game features.
I understand, but the way I look at it is, even though some people may abuse it, it's better to have the option there than for it to not to be there.
Yeah, that's the option to have a refund. It's just that I try to worry about it's going to be a justified refund.
Well, I mean, like, if you buy a game and you don't like it, you should be able to return it in a timely manner. Like, that's like, it's, I mean, yes, the reason someone might return it in that case may be subjective, but if you don't like something, you just don't like it. Why should you buy a game not like it, and then keep it because there's no refund policy in place.
Past, we had to eat that, but as of
Yeah,
today, as
yeah.
I said, it's a good refund policy that is that is flexible to both customer and the seller.
Yeah, the way I look at it is fuck the seller. I'm sorry, but as the consumer, you need my money, but you also have to keep me happy. If you're selling me a product that's not making me happy, you're gonna have to eat the cost. Okay, as far as I'm concerned. And I mean, listen, I understand people are like, look, but you own a business. I've had people say I didn't like the food, and I had to refund them their money. Boom. But here's the thing. If you give people good customer service, they'll come back and spend more money.
So, and moving on to other news, Nintendo is now allowing players to publish reviews to Switch games on their websites.
I'm kind of mixed up. I can't figure out where on the Switch right now, but I at least know where to go for website, though it only works with games that you already bought digitally.
What, refunds?
No, the review ones.
Huh. So so it doesn't work for physical copies then?
Not that I know of. And I got Flip Wars to represent that one.
I mean, it is what it is.
And of course, it requires you to use a My Nintendo account to publish a review.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Like, let me put it this way. I think there should be two types of reviews published, whether it be on someone's website or, there should be professional reviewers, like people who review games for a living, and then there should be like casual or user reviews, where like a user does 2 or 3 sentences to a paragraph of what they thought of the game. Give it like don't give it a numerical score, because numerical scores don't tell you jack shit about a game.
The system uses stars, and it has headlines.
Yeah, but that's still a numerical score, because you're giving like a certain amount of stars. Like I don't think a fair review system should use numerical scores, because it's too easy for people to just look at the score and not look at and not read what was said. You understand?
Yeah, and perhaps the possibility of lying your description as a Nintendo fan, core gamer, casual player, or a parent.
I won't go that far. I'm just saying numerical scores are just too easy. Like, okay, I've read numerical scores where someone was reviewing a JRPG for the 3DS, and I shit you not, here's what they said. This is not word for word, but here's a general gist of what they said. This game has too much text. The art style is very anime-ish.
Stupid 2.
The combat is turn-based.
Stupid 3.
And then he's like, yeah, and the story is very cliche. It's like I'm playing an anime. Now, I'm not gonna say.
Or we got overkill.
This is now look. Here's the thing. It said 1 out of 5, and it was on Amazon. But here's the thing. Okay, it's a JRPG for the 3DS. Okay, like those are the things that RPGs tend to have. Shit like that. So it would be weird if an RPG didn't have that, if you're used to that. But to him, it's like the worst thing ever.
This guy sounds like your typical Western gamer.
I don't know where it was from. I'm just simply saying that, like, now I read the review, but he had 1 out of 5 stars. Now, if you do, like, it's very easy to just look at the score and say, oh, this game must be bad. Like, what if I didn't read the review and I just saw the score, 1 out of 5? Now, I mean, like, you can't. That's why I'm saying reviews shouldn't have a numerical score. You should have to actually fucking, read. I know a lot of people don't want to read because reasons, but Yeah.
Great, I got a Boondocks reference.
Yeah. Reading
Thank you
is
very much.
fundamental. Reading Rainbow.
And did you guys hear about a glitch being used in Super Mario Odyssey to place balloons for Luigi's Balloon World in impossible to reach areas?
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
I was about to say, that's evil.
I mean, look, Nintendo could have avoided this had they actually put some real thought and effort into the DLC and made Luigi into a playable character, maybe added some new worlds or some shit. But instead, they did this shit with, hey, you can play a game with Luigi. Man, fuck you. So
I was going to say, I usually hear people say,
I'm sorry. I'm just, no. Like, I would rather them just add new worlds or make Luigi into a playable character than, hey, go pop some balloons, man.
Hey, if you ask me, that's a challenge, but it could have been done better. You could have had Luigi versus Mario.
I don't know. I'd rather have Luigi as a playable character. Period. Just Luigi as a playable character.
As I said, Luigi versus Mario. Have a.
No, I don't mean a versus.
If you actually have somebody playing versus 2.
I don't mean a versus game. I mean literally like they had in Mario Galaxy where you could switch between Mario and Luigi. That's it. I just wanted to play as Luigi. nothing fancy.
But then you have fans talking about Luigi's nipples.
I don't think anyone would give a shit about his nipples.
I'm sorry, you just hurt me there with that flag.
I don't think anyone would care. Like, here's the thing: everyone was looking at Luigi, and like everyone was looking at Mario and Mario Odyssey. Like, where's his nipples? You know what? What really shocked me? I could give a shit less about Mario's nipples. I'm like, this is an Italian. This is a short Italian man. We know Italians are really, really, really fucking hairy. Like, when did Mario have time to go and get wet? That's what I want to know.
TMI, thank you very much.
That's what I want to know. When did, like, is Mario spending all of his gold coins going to the tanning booth and getting waxed? Because we all know Italians and Greek people are hairy as balls.
Moving on. Fans have dynamite Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Rare Blade drop rates.
Oh, I can hear trouble with some of that already.
No, it's actually a good thing. It tells you how to get rare blades easier. Like, basically, you would think that using the rare cores and legendary cores would make it would increase the drop rate, but really, there's the more you miss, the higher your rate comes, so that at a certain point you can get like a rare one no matter what core you use. So
it's a pity system.
Yeah, it's actually useful for them to do this. Or you could just wait until the the new game plus, and then just start the game from scratch and just keep the rare blades you have, and then just railroad the game after that point, just beating the shit out of everything, which is what I plan on doing. I plan on New Game Plus in that thing in March and just beating the shit out of everything. Like those enemies I used to have to run from, I'm like, nah, man, I'm beating your ass.
And doesn't New Game Plus also increase the level curve of these monsters and enemies?
Could be, but it doesn't matter because I'm not gonna roll back any of my blades of any of my characters' weapon wheels or anything. So I'm just going to be going around beating the shit out of people because that's fun.
And now for the final news for this week. Konami is having you pay $10 for a new save data for Metal Gear Survive.
And Prime, $9.99, ladies and gents. Sorry, been feeling a little blech lately.
It's almost like Konami wants to one up EA for the worst company ever.
They got a ways to go to do that, since
No.
I'm not sure if that is as evil as what they did with the entire.
Yeah, I gotta disagree. I gotta disagree. Metal Gear is a very expensive franchise for them to make, for Konami to make. It's not Konami's fault. It's the piece of shit who ran the franchise for years and years and years.
Kojima.
Hideo Kojima. Now, Konami is a business. Okay, businesses exist to make money. Now you have this IP that's valuable, but it's been underperforming because someone was in charge of it that just dumped way too much money into it versus the money it was making. So now they have one that doesn't have that albatross hanging around its neck, and they're going to try and make some money out of it. I mean, I can't really get mad at them. If you want to get mad at someone, get mad at the person who devalued the franchise for years and years and years. Because Konami is a business. They're trying to make money. Okay?
And should we expect the same thing to happen with Death Stranding?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Death Stranding turned out to be kind of overrated trash, but that's just me. Because, I mean, I'm not a Hideo Kojima fanboy.
And I don't know what the beep is he crafting now.
And I don't know what day or year is going to be released in.
Does anyone? I mean, this game probably won't even be on the PS4. If it is, it'll probably be the last PS4 game, the last one made for the system.
Before the PS5 is announced.
Yeah, before their next console. Yeah.
Well, I guess that's it for the news for the week. I guess we can move on to the primary topic.
Yeah, the primary topic is, what trashy games do you love to play? Now, these are trashy, okay? They are not good games in the classical sense, but you loved playing them. You just went out of your way to just, palate cleanse yourself. So everyone choose one and tell us about it and why you liked it, and we'll keep on going for a bit.
And
let's see.
Arrive in the.
I thought of one, which is Universal Studios Theme Park Adventure.
Well, let's let Joel go first.
All right.
Probably one of the weirder, but I got a tie between either Spinball or Take Your Pick.
Take Your Pick as a game or what?
Take your pick of which one I get to shoot at, because I'll keep the other for it later or last.
You can choose whatever you want. Go for it. Knock yourself out.
Is it Pokemon Channel?
I said 3D Blast or Spinball. You should have heard which one. You should have recognized something if I went back.
Those Sonic games.
3D Blast or, I mean, I don't know, whatever makes you happy. I mean, I've personally never been a huge fan of those games, but I mean, if they make you happy, so why do you like Sonic Blast or Spinball?
Well, I'll keep it with a more traditional one, which is 3D Blast. I actually like trying to work around some environments, though. If anything, you can't deny that those things are and the special stages. Well, those are the least favorite. Well, if you guys know already, it's as hard as balls to get rings in certain areas on special stages, and sure that you get enough for those special stages is a pain in the rear end.
I also heard that if you have that the game has a bad ending if you don't get all the Chaos Emeralds.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And
I remember. Sorry, go ahead.
And the worst tricky part is that, in a sense, you only get 2 channels in a sense to try to get those 2 stage, except the boss stages, to try to get those emeralds. I find in Tails and Knuckles.
Damn. Well, here's what I was gonna say. I remember playing Sonic Spinball and Sonic Blast at my friend's house. Because my friend was one of those, like, I had an SNES and lots of games for that, and my friend had like an SNES, N60. No, he had an SNES, a Sega CD, the Sega Genesis. He had the Sega CD, Sega Genesis, and 32X combo. Plus, this bastard had the Sega channel. So he had all of the things that basically destroyed Sega. And I remember playing Sonic. I remember watching him play Sonic 3D Blast and Sonic Spinball, and I was like, these games are garbage. But I couldn't say that because I was at his house, so I had to be like, yeah, I'll play, and just losing horrifically every time because, you know.
The game was purely poorly designed.
Well, you know, it is what it is. So I guess it's your turn.
Me? Yeah.
Pinky.
I already mentioned Universal Studios Theme Park Adventure. Well, basically all the attractions from that, it's based off of Universal Studios Japan, to the point where it's basically designed after that. That's that park.
Never been there, so it's
including all the attractions that are currently at least some of it. So a few of those attractions are no longer in Universal Studios Japan. There's one, they're all in the form of mini games. One of them was the Wild Wild West Stunt Show, which is basically a shooting gallery mini game, and of course that's no longer there, and it's replaced by something else. And they also have an ET mini game, which it too was replaced by an original IP called, I think it was called something Galaxy. They still have the Jaws and Jurassic Park rides, which both too have mini games. And of course, the Jurassic Park minigame was by far my favorite of those minigames. And basically, it's kind of because it reminds me of the Sega Jurassic Park arcade game. Back when they still had them back when Chuck E. Cheese still had them.
All right. Okay. So that's your trashy game you like to play. So yeah, I guess it's my turn.
Yeah, it's really trashy because some of the mini games
you got Shaq too.
are really, really hard, and especially this quiz mini game which requires you to watch a various amount of Universal Studios movies, including the R-rated ones, and the game is rated T for teen, and your avatar are kids.
So, I mean, when we were kids, probably saw some R-rated films, and we didn't care because they were good movies, like RoboCop. RoboCop, dead or alive, you are coming with me. But that's neither here nor there. The trashy game that I still come back to is Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee for the GameCube.
That wasn't trashy. That was actually pretty good.
No, that's a trashy ass game, but it's fun.
Because seriously, it's moments, but seriously, the reason I say the game is trashy is because it has no real depth. You go around as a giant monster from Toho's Monsterverse, Gojira Monsterverse, and just beat the shit out of other monsters while destroying the city. It's great.
It's basically a modern version of King of the Monsters from Koei Tecmo, or was it Koei Tecmo? No, SNK. But instead of using SNK's made-up monsters like Atomic Guy, Mecha Woo, you have the real kaiju. Gojira, Mothra, Ghidorah, Mecha King Ghidorah, Rodan.
Mothra is unfortunately not a playable character in the Sword of Monsters movie, but she is playable in the sequels, which Save the Earth and Unleashed.
There's two of them, and I'm even though I said the first one, I have the one on the Wii, which is the sequel that has Mothra, and I have the one for the GameCube that did have Mothra, but it has Rodan, who basically Rodan and Mothra, because Rodan's also an Unleashed. They play almost exactly the same. They're flying monsters, which means they can't take a lot of damage, but they're fast as hell. But that's neither here nor there. Just beating the shit out of the city, destroying monsters, playing it as your favorite Godzilla. Unleashed had like 3 versions of Godzilla. You had classic 54 Godzilla, you had the 70s Godzilla, and then you had the 70s Godzilla, who was kind of like, no, you had 4. You had 70s Godzilla, you had the later version, you had Burning Godzilla from Godzilla vs. Destroyer, and you had Godzilla 2000. And it was just a fun game to play. It had the music from the Godzilla movies. I think King Caesar was in one of them. Can't remember. I think he was. In Unleashed, I think he was.
Yeah, King Caesar is in Unleashed.
So yeah, it was a pretty good series. And then they fucked it up with the one they made for the PS4. That was this is one of the shittiest Godzilla games I've ever seen. I didn't play it. I saw someone playing. I was like, this is shit. And I'm glad I didn't buy a PS4 for that game, because I would have been angry. But yeah.
Though I'm still hoping that it gets ported onto the Switch, so I could.
That turd, man.
You'd play it out of guilty pleasure.
Man, it's not even a guilty pleasure. It's just guilty. It's just I wouldn't get that game unless it was $20 on the system.
Minus.
Just $20. It's not very good. I have a friend who imported it, and I watched him play it, and I'm like, this game. I knew something was wrong when the guy who made the game was like, yeah, we couldn't make this game without the power of the PS4. And like that was strike number 1. Strike number 2 was, yeah, I wanted to show how powerful Godzilla is. And the game, and then the third one was, the game was made in like 8 months. I was like, this game, and it was made.
To be fair, they're trying to replicate how the monsters move how the monsters attack and move from the movies.
Well, no, for that movie, the Godzilla game they made, it was made to coincide with Shin Godzilla. Like, that's what it was made for. It was made to go with that movie. It was basically, it was made to come out almost at the same time as that movie. The problem is that never have I heard of a game being good that was made in 8 months. and number 2.
Hold on, 8 months?
Yeah, he literally, the game was made in 8 months. And then, it may have been in planning stages for longer than that, but actual work done to make it was 8 months. And then it was only on the PS4. And then, like, the guy, like, you watch the game being played, and it's not fun at all. It is just ass. Godzilla moves like he's stuck in molasses that's been frozen.
But that's the way he moves in the movies.
Not really, no. No, not really, no.
Unless you're referring to the Showa era Godzilla, where he's a lot more agile.
let me put it this way: the last Godzilla film that I watched that I enjoyed was basically the last Godzilla film that came out. I want to say in 2012. And
You
it
mean
basically
Final
was
Wars?
yeah, Final Wars. And Final Wars is basically a remake of
Destroy All
Destroy
Monsters.
All Monsters. And that Godzilla got in people's ass. Okay? Like literally he fucked shit up. And frankly speaking, like this whole like this let me just now, I mean, there is something to be said for the cinematic Godzilla that moves all slowly, and you know, you hear the Akira Ifukube's uh, score begin and the stomps. Yeah, that's cool, but if I'm playing a video game which is meant to be fun, then I want to play as a Godzilla that can actually move around kind of quickly. Sorry, or at least relatively quickly for his size. And that's where they kind of messed up. But you know, it is what it is. That game bombed, so it's. I'm not really surprised. Like people were like, "Man, there's a new Godzilla game coming out." Like, really, the best Godzilla games were the ones that came out in the 4th gen for the SNES and the TurboGrafx 16, and then the ones that came out for the Sega Saturn and the Sega CD. I mean, in the Dreamcast, and then the ones in the 6th gen and the 7th gen, and then when the 8th gen came, it just went to shit because I don't know, man.
That's
it's like
full tilt.
I mean, if you're gonna make a good Godzilla game, I think you should either go with a beat 'em up brawler, or you should go with like a more of a text heavy RPG. Which I have played a good Godzilla RPG. Didn't know what the hell was going on, but it was fun.
Surprised that your choice wasn't Rage.
Primal Rage. I hate Primal Rage because
And
the
what about
combos are hard to do. The combos are too hard to do.
do you also dislike King of the Monsters for the PS2? I remember playing the demo of it.
Yeah, that game was kind of fun, but it's like the controls were kind of shitty to get used to. Like, you know, like here's the thing: when you're talking about a game where you're playing as massive monsters fighting it out, you need good controls.
Right.
You can't have shitty controls. And King of the Monsters had weird ass controls for the PS2. Not to mention it used the same name as King of the Monsters, that SNES games from back in the day that were ports of the TurboGrafx / Neo Geo games. King of the Monsters, which is it's basically a wrestling game, except instead of like known wrestlers, you have giant kaiju beating the shit out of each other. It's great. I love it.
It's chaotic.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Plus, they had really cool names for the monsters in the second one. There was like Mecha Woo and and Atomic Guy, and they all had like interesting names and shit like that. I liked it.
So now that so what would be the second topic?
I don't know. Anything else?
This will be the shortest that we'd ever do.
Let's see. Let's see if I can find any more news to fill things up. Monster Hunter World is currently the #1 best-selling game last month.
What game?
Monster
Hunter World.
Not surprised. They love Monster Hunter over there.
Followed by Splatoon 2.
They also love Splatoon over there.
And Super Mario Odyssey.
It's Mario.
And #4 is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And #5, Dissidia Final Fantasy NT.
You know, I just remember understood how the beep that fighting system works because I keep looking for a R or HP meter or something like that, and that thing.
In what game?
Dissidious.
Man, I don't know. I played about. I downloaded a demo of that game and I played about 20 minutes of it, and I was like, "Fucking up again, Square Enix," and then I erased it. And moved on.
I heard that the latest entry of Dissidia is actually not very good. That even Japan hates it.
I don't think any of them are good. I think Final Fantasy should, if you're going to do a Final Fantasy spinoff, it damn sure better be something that's good.
Let's see. Tactics? Yes. Fighting game?
Remember, there's this.
Yeah, but Tactics isn't a spinoff. It's its own thing.
I just remembered something. Final Fantasy 15 is getting a Half-Life promotion.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that's some. Yeah, for the PC release, they put Gordon Freeman in it for a little bit. I guess I don't know.
Does this mean that Half-Life 3 is confirmed?
You're trolling, aren't you?
Yep.
I thought so. Yeah.
I was about to say. Every time the number 3 comes around, Valve runs for the.
We'll get Half-Life 3 when Square Enix pulls their head out of their ass and makes Chrono Trigger 2.
or when Nintendo goes third party.
Yeah, when Nintendo goes third party, then we'll then we'll get Half-Life 3. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like the way I think about it is like this. Final Fantasy has not had good spin-offs thus far. I mean, you could say those Chocobo Dungeon games are okay. I've never played them, but from people that I know who played them, they say they're okay.
What about
Final Fantasy? Yeah, Crystal Chronicles was ass. I mean, look, I have both of those games. They're ass. Final Fantasy Tactics isn't a spinoff. They put the Final Fantasy title on it, but Final Fantasy Tactics is its own thing. They just put Final Fantasy on it, kind of like how they made Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, but Mystic Quest has nothing to do with Final Fantasy. It just has the name, or Final Fantasy Legend for the Game Boy, even though it's not even a Final Fantasy game. Same thing.
Surprised we haven't be.
I mean, but I'll give you the first real spin-off to Final Fantasy that I remember. Energize, God Bless the Ring. And you want to know who were playable characters in that game? Tifa and Cloud Strife. Energize, God Bless the Ring is one of the worst 3D.
I thought it was Tifa. I thought it was Tifa, Cloud, and.
No, Tifa and Cloud were playable characters in that game, and that is one of the shittiest third person. It's one of the shittiest 3D arena fighting games ever made. The only good thing about it is that it had a surprisingly deep RPG mode where you went into a dungeon and fought monsters. And I'm like, wow, Squaresoft actually made a good portion of a game where you went into a dungeon and fought monsters. Ooh, RPG style. Oh, I'm surprised. And then their next Final Fantasy spinoff was Final Fantasy X2.
If you're going for, try to brace yourself for all the TNA.
We don't need to say anything else about that game.
So didn't they say that the story is good according to the fans?
What, X2? X2 is a steaming pile of shit. Mario Pokenard says loved Shadow the Hedgehog. Yeah, that's kind of a trashy game that people might like. I think Shadow the Hedgehog was a fun character who just was in the wrong game. Like, had that game just been Shadow the Hedgehog going around shooting people, like none of the normal mechanics of like homing dash and running, just him driving around on a motorcycle, jumping out and shooting people, that probably would have been a much better game. Because Shadow just looks like the type of character who, you know, he doesn't need to have the abilities of Sonic the Hedgehog. He just needs to have guns. Lots and lots of guns.
It's too bad that Shadow is the poster child for your typical edgy video game character that even people on the internet will like to make fun of.
Yeah.
I thought Silver was worse.
Silver. Silver's bad, but I think Shadow can be redeemed. Shadow can totally be redeemed. If they remade a Shadow the Hedgehog, if they made Shadow a Shadow the Hedgehog 2, but instead of giving him Sonic abilities, they just basically gave him just lots and lots of guns. Like, he's the antithesis of Sonic. Like, Sonic doesn't use any weapons. He just has a spin dash and kicks, and he runs fast. But Shadow, he doesn't do any of that shit. He's got guns. Okay. He doesn't need to run fast. He's got a vehicle. He doesn't need to run fast. I'd play that game. That'd be fun. To me.
That and Chaos Control.
Yeah, and Chaos Control. That's his supersonic is Chaos Control. But he doesn't even need to use that, because what do you need Chaos Control for when you have a rocket launcher? I mean, what? Chaos Control. I'll say hello to my rocket launcher.
What about finding that darn fourth Chaos Emerald?
Doesn't need any of that because he's got a rocket launcher. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, the Final Fantasy spin-offs have been pretty bad. The Dissidia games, like let's make a Final Fantasy beat 'em up. Why? Why does Square Enix has all of these IPs under their belt and they keep on churning out Final Fantasy shit? They own the rights to Lufia, Ogre Battle, Chrono Trigger.
I was gonna say
Live Alive, the Saga franchise.
Tomb Raider, Hitman, pretty much any.
No, they don't run Hitman anymore. Like they have all these other IPs under their belt, just JRPGs, just tons and tons of JRPGs under their belt. They do fucking nothing with them. Illusion of Gaia, ActRaiser. They have all of these IPs under their belt and they do jack shit with them. Dragon Quest, nothing. But man, if it's got Final Fantasy, they'll run that shit into the ground.
Well, they're still making Dragon Quest games. It's just that they refuse to import them
overseas. To localize them. Yeah, they refuse to localize them. And you know why that is? Because the biggest Dragon Quest audience is on Nintendo platforms.
And the moment they announce, they're gonna expect Nintendo to get something.
Well, Nintendo's gonna have to localize it.
I know. Last I heard, Square doesn't give anything to Nintendo.
Well, my thing is, why does Nintendo always have to
save their?
Yeah, why does Nintendo always have to friggin' pay for these people stuff? Like that's what gets me. Like, why do they always have to do that? You know, like why do they always have to localize these people's games?
Beats me. Probably because these third parties either aren't as popular in the West as they used to be, or compared to Japan, or they just want to spite Nintendo.
Yeah.
I mean, Level 5 allows Nintendo to publish their games on the West because Level 5 isn't as popular as a publisher in the West compared to Japan.
Oh, really? Man, and I heard all those people talking about how their Yokai Watch was going to totally kick Pokemon's ass. I was like,
in Japan, that's your only chance to do that.
And speaking of
everywhere else, you're not going to get anywhere.
And the list of the best-selling Japanese games says it all, because Yokai Watch is placed on number 10, whereas Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon is placed above it at number 6.
I'm just saying, like, Yokai Watch. Okay, Yokai Watch is a good game, but people are like, it's like Pokemon. I'm like, Yokai Watch is nothing like Pokemon. They literally are two completely different games.
Though I'm seeing some ex-Pokemon fans preferring Yokai Watch in terms of difficulty.
Well, Yokai Watch does have a more in-depth combat system. I'm not going to deny that.
In-depth, you. Sorry,
No, just
sorry,
take a step back. Take a step back. Drop the bias. Okay, I know you're a Pokemon fan.
I'm sorry, but after I played the demo watch and Yokai Watch 2.
Yeah, you played the demo.
And I tried
really, you know,
combat works.
That's not really indicative of you playing the game. You said you played the demo.
Yeah, you've only tasted the appetizer.
Yeah, ultimate moves. You're trying to lure some monsters over with food, in which you only use once per battle. And you're telling me beeping death than Pokemon.
Because you only played the demo, I'm going to attempt to explain why, in my opinion, it has more depth than Pokemon. Pokemon's combat system is based upon typing, and the move set you taught your Pokemon, and they're like the stats they have and all that type of stuff. That does have some depth to it, but it's like Pokemon is like tic-tac-toe. There is strategy to tic-tac-toe, but if you know how to give the right type of Pokemon, the right types of moves, you should be able to get through Pokemon. Even if you're doing PvP or PvE, you can get through it. Yokai Watch is a little bit different because in my opinion, has more depth to it, because not only do you have like in Pokemon, the natures of your Pokemon just is indicative of, like, that just basically means how their stats go when they level up. That's all.
Trickery.
Yeah, that's the only thing it means. Like, oh, it's a brave nature, so that means it has higher attack, lower defensive growth. Okay, whatever. But nature in Yokai Watch actually means that your yokai, how they interact with other yokai on your own team, because you don't directly control your yokai. They do, like, you can give them direct orders overall, like directives of what you want them to do generally, but how they accomplish that is directly determined by their nature. So having yokai whose nature complement each other can actually boost the overall attack of your team. Having yokai that have natures that they hate the other yokai that you're fighting against can actually boost the damage they do to that yokai. So there's a lot more shit under the hood that you have to be aware of than just stats and grinding and types, which is why Yokai Watch has it's more in depth. There's more granularness going on. Like, not to say Pokemon is a shallow gameplay experience. I mean, it's not as shallow as, say, a straight up platformer, but it doesn't have the depth of a it doesn't have the depth of Yokai Watch. I mean, I like Pokemon, but it's not,
That's where I get to bug you on this, because seriously, you're letting the gameplay itself, basically, even though you give interactions and commands, they want until you get a ultimate move to either do heavy damage or something specific to even revive your.
Yeah, like I said, there's more depth to it because you aren't in absolute control over everything. You have to understand the underlying systems underneath it. It's kind of like if Pokemon is micromanaging the shit out of 6 really dumbass pets that only know 4 commands at the most, right? Whereas Yokai Watch is you controlling 6 pets who have their own thoughts, ideas, behaviors, and you can give them general directions, but they basically are going to do their own things according to their nature. So it seems to me to have more depth than Pokemon, because Pokemon is too micromanaging and hand-holding, which is good if that's what you like, but it's, like Pokemon is more traditional. It's trying to be more traditional RPG.
This is how come I actually know what I'm talking about when I watch Free for All, while Pokemon is more tactical.
Not really, no, but I mean,
at least as far as I can see it, because if you understand what's going on and try to actually be able to do your own tricks, then in a sense, Yokai Watch is more something else.
Not really, no, because think about it. Most Pokemon people, when they say they want the evolution of Pokemon, they want Pokemon battles to be more like they are on the TV show and the mangas, where it's like the Pokemon are fighting and they have normal attacks that they do while they're fighting, but then you can give them specific attacks to do, like body slam, low kick, high jump kick, mega punch, lightning punch, ice punch, fire punch, stuff like that.
In addition, they also want it to be open world, just like every other video game, every other long-running video game.
Yeah, I mean, if it was done well. But here's the thing. Yokai Watch already does that. Like, Yokai Watch has literally the things that people want from next-gen Pokemon, Yokai Watch does. Now, I mean, if you like the concept of basically having to make every single decision for your Pokemon, like they've been doing for years and years and years, that's cool. But it's like Pokemon isn't designed to be this in-depth, hardcore RPG. It's almost like a starter RPG. It's basically a little bit more advanced than Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, right? Like, no one would ever say that has the depth and complexity of a true Final Fantasy game, because it doesn't. Not that there's. I mean, listen. I like Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, but I'll never say that it has the depth and complexity of any of the core RPGs of the 16-bit era, because it doesn't. Same thing with Pokemon. Pokemon is a good game, but it's not the most
deep.
It's not the deep in terms of the combat system. Now, if you want to talk about people who breed Pokemon and try to get the perfect nature team and all that stuff, yes. The meta game of Pokemon is way deeper than what you have in Yokai Watch.
That's probably where I am at times.
Yeah, the meta game where people are like, okay, I'm trying to breed the perfect Pokemon team. I'm trying to I'm trying to get the perfect nature. I'm trying to breed the perfect team. I'm breeding Pokemon so that their offspring will learn this attack at this level that's gonna be completely badass in competitive combat. Now, yeah, but that's the meta game. That's the game behind the game behind the game. And every game has meta game concepts that add a more depth and complexity than what you would normally see there. So you can't judge a game by the meta game. You have to judge it by the gameplay experience of the average person who's playing it. And I'm sorry, the average game of Pokemon is very easy to get into, but it doesn't have that depth that a Yokai Watch has. But here's the thing, Yokai Watch totally fools you, because you play Yokai Watch and you're like, these little cute little monsters with big ass eyes and cute things. I mean, it's surprisingly dark. Like, the mascot of Yokai Watch is that cat Jibanyan.
And he gets ran over.
Yeah, he gets ran the fuck over. He's a ghost of a cat that got run the fuck over. It's
I wasn't fooled by some of the cuteness and so that's the thing that bugged me.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. So you're an old school video game player. So you know that just because something's cute doesn't necessarily mean that
it's pathetic.
Just because something's cute doesn't necessarily mean that it's
not scary.
Yeah.
Then Mr. Red Fox muted himself by accident, I believe.
Something must have came up in order for that to happen.
No,
So, okay.
I muted myself on purpose. I had to get something, and it was kind of noisy.
As I said, something had to happen.
But yeah, but enough about arguing about Pokemon. For those of you who are still listening, who are still with us, okay, we have no questions. So, anything else you guys want to talk about before we wrap things up?
Let's see. The Netflix, the Netflix app on the Wii U is receiving an update.
Yeah, because I mean, the people who have a Wii U and have Netflix and Amazon, look, there is nothing more enjoyable than watching your Hulu, your Netflix, your Amazon Prime on from your tablet in bed. It is so convenient. You can't beat it.
Also, Japan is already getting their next week's Japanese Splatfest, and it's basically a festival theme. Like, would you have? This one involves cherry blossoms versus Japanese dumplings, dumpling rods.
Meh, whatever makes you happy.
Yeah,
wait until we see what
it's very Japanese centric. So I doubt it's going to be imported to other Western Splatfests like they did with Money versus Love.
You should have heard. You should have remembered the one Splatfest I actually was weird. Tea versus milk.
Oh yes, that was from the first game.
Yep.
It's full of sexual innuendos.
Not as bad as ketchup versus mayo.
And I was salty in that Splatfest because I chose Team Ketchup because I thought everyone knows.
I actually was with you on that.
No, I chose ketchup just because the mayo looked a little too like biological fluid. So I was like, I don't want to. I'm not cool with that.
I'm sorry. You guys are getting me to laugh.
Well, it does. I mean,
that's the thing. It's so true.
So, and I knew everyone was going to make that joke, and they did because people were, yeah, mayo. I'm like, I don't feel comfortable having mayonnaise squirted in my face.
The reason why I'm Team Ketchup.
Yeah, the reason why I chose Team Ketchup.
You're turning them into bloody paste.
But Ketchup lost, so.
I should briefly mention that Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm Trilogy is coming to the Switch. Even though Ultimate Ninja Storm 4 contains pretty much 100% of the full story and all that content. So pretty much Switch players are screwed over for getting about 80% of the story.
Yeah, but let's keep it real. Nintendo gamers are always getting screwed over, so why stop now?
Sooner or later, learn what they get for screwing over Nintendo. Ollie.
I mean, that's the Nintendo way. If you're a Nintendo gamer and you aren't getting screwed over, then you're not a Nintendo gamer. But that's neither here nor there. Let's wrap things up. Anything you guys want to pimp out before we get to our inevitable conclusion?
No, I think that's about it for today. Of course,
okay, cool.
Of course, we know that next week is going to be the 1-year anniversary of the Switch.
Great console.
So, do you think we should do a BS Buzzers podcast to celebrate the 1-year anniversary?
I mean, we can. be like, well, you know, what do you think about the Switch now versus when you bought it, and all that type of. What are you looking forward to in the future? That type of thing.
So I wouldn't be surprised if the OGL podcast does it before us.
Yeah, if they do, we'll just do it on theirs. It's no biggie. Jewel, you have anything you want to say?
I'm trying to hold my head because of how many stupid things we're going through on my month, no less. Let's see if companies could at least do something nice next month.
Okay.
I'm just hoping.
All right. So the only thing we're going to be doing next week, same thing. We'll be talking BS Busters, Sci-Fi Power Hour, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday and Sunday. Sci-Fi Power Hour-ish is around an hour, whereas BS Busters will be typically hour and a half. So look forward to that. Rate, comment, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to hear more content, I'll try to upload some stuff this week for you guys.
Hopefully it'll be something interesting.
Well, I mean, you know, I have to have the inspiration to talk about something. A lot of stuff I save for the podcasts. But with that being said, good night, peace, and stay away from that bad orange juice.
And keep it